我今年42岁了，其实我打内心是不打算结婚的。
I'm already 42 this year. Deep down, I actually don't intend to get married, but my mom keeps saying that being single all the time isn't a solution and keeps pressuring me to meet blind date candidates. Although I usually don't wear much makeup, today I had to at least wash my face and tidy up. The scheduled meeting time is still over 40 minutes away, but the other party has already sent a message saying he has arrived, and I'm not even ready yet. It's really frustrating. We agreed to meet at 7 p.m. at a restaurant. At my age, going on blind dates is quite awkward. He's also an older single, for years older than me. I asked him why he hasn't gotten married yet, and he said it's because he hasn't met the right person. Then he started asking about my job situation and whether I had bought a house. I told him the house I live in was bought with a mortgage. He also talked about his situation, and at first, the conversation was quite good and he was very enthusiastic. But as we talked, both of us gradually ran out of things to say, and the atmosphere became a bit awkward. I began to feel uncomfortable sitting there, so I told him that we should end it for today. I said my back was not good and sitting for too long made me uncomfortable, so I decided to go home. Sigh, I might disappoint my mom again this time. Actually, at this age, I really don't want to find a partner anymore. I always find it awkward to chat with blind date candidates and don't know how to communicate. In my heart, I feel that staying single and not getting married suits me better.
35岁未婚无娃的我还有相亲市场吗？
I am 35 years old this year, unmarried and childless. I'm unsure if there's still a market for blind dates for me. However, today I'm going on a blind date, which will be my first in 2024. The person I'm meeting was born in 1988, from Tangshan, Hebei, and is a year older than me. He owns a house in Chongping but doesn't have a car and still owes 2.6 million yuan in loans. He works in the R&D department of a central enterprise. I was introduced to him by a colleague who said he is honest and a great-looking guy, which made me have some expectations. Initially, I was resistant to the idea of the blind date because of the distance, but the date insisted on meeting me. We scheduled to meet at 5 p.m. I decided to make an effort to look presentable and show him respect. He arrived early and waited for me for an hour at the mall. I thought that I shouldn't make the guy wait too long on our first meeting, and I should at least show some respect. So I told him I'd be a bit late. He told me not to rush and said it was okay for him to wait a little longer. When I arrived on my electric scooter, he stood like a soldier holding 2 cups of milk tea. Upon seeing me, he immediately let me choose my milk tea and asked what I wanted to eat. I told him I was on a diet lately and suggested we have grilled fish. During the meal, I mentioned that I was recording my life and asked if I could take a video. Initially, he was a bit reluctant, but he later said that for me, he could try adapting to video taking. I found our conversation very enjoyable. He was indeed very honest and warm, able to understand my small gestures, which made me feel like he was too good to be true. We talked about our respective jobs, and after the meal, I went home, stopping by to pick up a package on the way. When I got home, my parents were already asleep. Although the date was a nice person, he is about the same height as me, around 1.70 meters. I place significant importance on looks, particularly height and appearance. On the way back, he sent me a message asking if I had arrived home and expressed interest in me, asking if he met my standards and mentioned he wasn't good at expressing himself and lacked experience in this area. Because his height and appearance did not meet my ideal standards, I still politely replied that we are better suited to being ordinary friends. After that, he did not respond to my message. Actually, I believe that women should not be overly anxious about age and marriage at any time. There is no daughter who cannot get married, only a bride who cannot be found. What is meant to come will come, just a matter of time. I believe that if I continue to go on blind dates, I will definitely find someone who meets my expectations.
37岁大龄剩女的相亲对象都是些什么人？
At 37, an older single woman often encounters a variety of prospects in the dating market. Many people believe that at my age, it's quite difficult to find a match, as men with slightly better conditions might be hesitant due to my age, thinking that I've remained single this long because of high demands in my younger years. In fact, my demands are not particularly high. I'm not looking for someone exceptionally wealthy or impressive because I feel such individuals are often more dominant, harder to get along with, and there might be a certain distance between us. I would prefer to find a man of good character, warmth, kindness, and refinement. Today happens to be a blind date, which this person has been arranging with me for quite some time. Recently, I've been busy with weekend classes, and he often travels for work, so our schedules haven't aligned until now. We finally managed to arrange it. He is 3 years older than me, a returnee with a master's degree, and a senior executive in the finance industry, which indeed sounds impressive. We're scheduled to meet today at 11:30. I have a slow-to-warm-up personality, and on a first date, I need the other person to lead the conversation a bit. I'm not sure if he is talkative. However, regardless of the outcome, my attitude towards marriage is to go with the flow. It's best if it's a good match, but if not, I can enjoy my life alone. Do you think my blind date today will be successful?
是哪年的
86，
你们怎么都不结婚？
I was born in 1986. And actually, after reaching a certain age, many of us no longer want to get married. We all face issues in the matchmaking market. I am aware of the situation in the matchmaking market, especially that men of my age or slightly older often choose younger partners. Once, I attended a matchmaking seminar, and one of the matchmakers from a marriage agency kept trying to introduce me to potential partners after seeing me. In the end, during the seminar, we talked about age. The matchmaker asked my age. When I said I was born in 1986, both the matchmaker and one of her friends instantly showed shocked expressions. Then the matchmaker began to rack her brains trying to find a suitable man for me. She said, "Oh, I remember I have a profile of a man in his 40s, a divorced PhD, who might be suitable for you." Although she made great efforts to find a suitable match for me, I felt that a divorced man did not quite meet my criteria. In the end, the matchmaker simply gave up on finding a match for me. Actually, my current thought is that rather than putting my energy into matchmaking, I might as well invest it in my career, which might yield better returns.
我今天去相亲见了一个男生，在开头见面的时候发生了一个小小的插曲。
I am 36 years old this year. Today, I went on a blind date with a guy, and a small incident at the beginning made me feel that he might not be suitable. We had agreed to meet at 2 p.m. at a light salad shop in a shopping mall. I arrived around 1:50 p.m., and he arrived at around 2:20 p.m., which was a bit late. However, given the traffic jams in Beijing, I didn't mind his being late. After he sat down, I suggested we order a drink. As I was talking, I went to scan the QR code on the table. He then said, "Oh, no need, no need. I'll just have this free water. If you want a drink, you can order your own." When I heard this, I immediately felt a bit uncomfortable. Firstly, I wasn't necessarily keen on having a drink or particularly wanting one. I just felt that since we were in a restaurant, which is a business establishment, we should at least make a symbolic purchase to be courteous, even if it's just ordering a drink. Secondly, I think that ordering 2 drinks on a first date is basic courtesy and common sense. His reaction made me feel that he might be unwilling to spend money or might not understand basic social etiquette. Either way, I found it unacceptable. Therefore, I ended up ordering 2 drinks, one for each of us. This small incident made our subsequent conversation rather awkward. I definitely won't consider this guy for further dates.
我今天打羽毛球认识的那位男士，这是我最近这几个月以来呢，见到的最喜欢的一位男士了。
I am 35 years old this year. Today, while playing badminton, I met a man who is the most impressive I have come across in recent months. His height, appearance, conversation, and income are all excellent. Moreover, he somewhat resembles the boy I had a crush on during high school. Looking back now, I really feel regretful. How come he is already married and a father of 2? Let me briefly introduce this man, as I feel I should share about such an outstanding individual. This man was born in 1987, making him 37 this year. His child is already 2 years old. He got married around the age of 30 and currently works as a programmer and technician at a large company. His annual income is approximately 900,000 renminbi. Although it's not as high as at the leading companies in Shenzhen, the work intensity is not as great, so overall the income is quite good. His wife is about the same age as him and also works in a service-oriented company. However, today he mentioned that after having the baby, his wife's weight increased to about 140 genes, 70 kilograms, and the recovery has been quite challenging. I wonder if they might face emotional crises in the future and possibly get divorced? Because this man's conditions are indeed too excellent. Fortunately for him, he met a girl like me today, so he won't have his family disrupted by me. If he had encountered a more challenging or somewhat aggressive woman, she might have pursued him relentlessly, possibly even damaging his family. Haha. Through today's experience, I understand that such outstanding men with good appearance, suitable income, high emotional intelligence, and pleasant interaction are usually snapped up around the age of 30. So, ladies, we must quickly secure these tech positions in large companies before turning 30. If meeting them through badminton is unlikely, we may need more effective methods, such as looking for matchmaking companies or frequently visiting gyms, swimming pools, and other fitness locations, because these high-quality men usually like to stay fit to maintain their physique. It's such a pity. I really regret not meeting such an excellent man earlier. I acted too late. What a pity!
和我相亲的这位男士是个公务员，长相呢我就不跟大家描述了。
I am 34 years old this year. The gentleman I met for a blind date today is a civil servant. As for his appearance, I won't go into details, but his face had a slightly triangular shape. We met at a coffee shop to chat, and during our conversation, he kept boasting about how great he was, what business ventures he had with friends, how much money he made, and how they eventually went bankrupt, etc. I was really annoyed and told him I wanted to go home, thinking that there was no need to get to know each other any further. On the way back, he insisted on escorting me across the street. While crossing, he kept touching me, putting his arm around my shoulder, then wrapping his arm around my waist. I felt very uncomfortable and, after crossing the street, I shrugged him off and took a cab home. After getting home, he kept trying to contact me, but I didn't answer his calls or reply to his messages. About half a month later, while watching a movie with friends, I received a message from an unfamiliar number asking what I was doing. I didn't think much of it and replied, "Who is this?" He responded, "I'm the guy you had coffee with the other day." I thought to myself that I must have been too careless and should not answer unfamiliar calls. So I quickly replied saying that I had been very busy in the past few days and hadn't replied to his messages. "I'm sorry, but I now have a boyfriend." The implication was that I hoped he wouldn't contact me again. Unexpectedly, he replied, "You have a boyfriend already. Why are you still trying to get free meals and drinks?" I was really dumbfounded. I had only ordered a coffee that cost 25 yuan. How could that be considered getting free meals and drinks? I was truly speechless. So I texted him back, saying if he thought I was trying to get free meals and drinks, he could send me his account number and I would transfer the cost of the coffee to him. He said that he wouldn't spend a single penny more on a girl he didn't succeed with in a blind date, so I should just transfer the money. He planned to save that money for his future wife. I thought to myself, with a guy like you, it's no wonder you can't find a wife. So I transferred the 25 yuan to him and then blocked his contact information.
今天相亲又失败了。
Today, I experienced another failed blind date. I want to talk to everyone about how I ended up being 35 years old and still unmarried. When I graduated from university, I was only 23 years old. At that time, many people pursued me, but I always felt that I was still young, and marriage was far away from me, so I never considered getting married. Then, whenever I had free time, I started traveling around, sometimes even going abroad. I haven't really counted how many places I've been to. When I was 26, I met someone I really wanted to marry. During that relationship, I was very eager to get married, but the other person was not willing. It took me 2 years to get over that relationship. At the age of 32, I met another guy who treated me very, very well at first. Although his annual salary wasn't high, only 150,000 yuan, during the relationship, I found out that someone in his family was in the late stages of cancer. Despite this, I still firmly chose him. Just when we were preparing to talk about marriage, I accidentally looked through his phone and discovered a secondary account filled with chat records with other girls. This made me feel that I was really unlucky in love. Although I'm now very eager to get married and want to get married as soon as possible, I have become more cautious in choosing a partner. I will no longer choose a partner just based on feelings like I used to.
As the number of older single women in China increases, many of them actually feel quite anxious inside. They often seek a partner through arranged blind dates. Here are some suggestions for older single women to consider. First, Do not spend too much time chatting with men on WeChat. When going on blind dates, it is very important to arrange an in-person meeting as soon as possible. Most men are visual creatures and are not very good at long-term online communication. If you only chat online, it's easy for the other party to suddenly lose contact. Second, older single women should remember to dress up well before meeting a man. Some men's photos may look ordinary, but meeting in person might bring a pleasant surprise. If you meet up looking disheveled, and then find out the man is a 185 centimeters tall, handsome gentleman, you might regret it. Third, if the man doesn't contact you after the blind date, don't overthink it. If you like him, you can take the initiative to send a message when you get home, wish him well, and say thank you. If the man still seems indifferent in this situation, it means he's not interested in you. Let go and don't waste time. Fourth, a blind date is different from dating. If you happen to like the man, don't start by seeing him as Mr. Right, and don't play hard to get, waiting for him to chase you. Blind dates should be between equals. The better a man's conditions, the less likely he is to be proactive. If the woman is too reserved, the relationship may end without a result. Fifth, control your emotions and believe that you deserve to be loved. Even if you feel insecure inside, stay calm, don't question the other person, and never doubt yourself. Sixth, if you meet someone who is not suitable, make sure to clearly express this to him in a polite way, so as not to give him unrealistic hopes. Seventh, if you get rejected by someone you like during a blind date, don't lose heart. Blind dating is a process of mutual selection. You may have rejected many men before as well. Eighth, remember to thank the introducer. As long as the person introduced is not too bad, be sure to thank the introducer. Keep in mind that finding a partner through a marriage agency can be quite expensive, so the introducer is actually saving you money. Even if this match isn't satisfactory, you might meet the right one next time. So don't offend the introducer. One more point, and it's the most important one. Don't be overly fixated on certain criteria, such as appearance, income, or profession. While these factors are important, it's more important to see if your personalities and values are compatible. Often, the person who is truly suitable for you may not completely meet the standards you initially set. Finally, be prepared to adjust your expectations. As older single women age, they may find that the ideal perfect partner is not easy to find. At this point, you may need to adjust your expectations and recognize that everyone has flaws, including yourself. Finding someone who can accept each other's flaws and is willing to face life's challenges together is often more realistic than pursuing perfection.